This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you.
Hello, my name's Aubrey Johnson, and I'm one of the ministers here at the Old Hickory Church of Christ in Old Hickory, Tennessee. And we're glad to be bringing you a new ministry of our congregation. We call it the Abundant Life Toolbox. And I'm glad to have with me as my guest today Mason Hale. He's a good friend, but also a colleague and co-worker here in the congregation. And he's a man who has some good words to share with you, because he not only has education and experience in studying the text of the Bible, but he's also a counselor and psychologist, so he knows how to make it practical and explain religious, spiritual terms also in language that helps you to use it effectively. So Mason, thank you for being with me today. Now, in our Abundant Life Toolbox, we're going to have a special segment on 6 questions, and that means we're going to ask 6 questions about a particular Bible verse or a Bible topic. And today, as we introduce this ministry, we wanted to start with something foundational. So we're taking a look at John chapter 10 and verse 10 and how that will help us have a more abundant life. So, what question will we begin with? Well, let's just take a look at the text. Jesus said, "I came that they may have life and have it abundantly." So let me ask you, Mason, what does that mean to you?
Well, when Jesus talks about this abundant life, he wants it for everyone, for Christians, for non-Christians, but especially for those who come into his church, who are baptized into his family. And this abundant life is foundational for spiritual health and for relational health as well. Your relationships with friends or your spouse, with your church family, and this is really what Jesus wants for his people, to enjoy this abundant life.
So it's about health, about spiritual health. You said relational health, and I guess to emotional health.
Absolutely.
So to enjoy life to its fullest in a way that honors God and makes us effective in relating to others, we need to be following Jesus' example and teachings. Well, let's think about this word life. He says, "I came that they may have life." What did he mean?
Well, this life that he mentions here is not just about having heartbeats and a pulse or just breathing air. This life is more about thriving and experiencing God's creation, being in it not just to survive or exist, but to really experience what God had created for us.
So God is glorified when we're experiencing that kind of life. You use the word thriving, flourishing, that we're not just eking out an existence here on earth, but that it can be, you said enjoy. It can be enjoyable. Doesn't mean it's not hard, doesn't mean there aren't trials, right, but it's full of joy. Well, he not only mentions the word life, but he also says he wants us to have an abundant life. What does that mean?
Well, this qualifier, abundant, naturally means not bare minimum, but more than that. And when we're having abundant life that Jesus wants for us, we experience joy. We are experiencing peace. We are enjoying life in those ways, and not just at the bare minimum. Jesus isn't saying, "Okay, I want you to experience peace. Here's enough peace so that, okay, I made my promise. You get it." No, this peace surpasses it surpasses a worldly level of peace. Something that you can scrape up on your own. Jesus' peace is way better.
Okay.
His joy that he gives is way better. And this abundant life is his way of describing what he wants for us. It's not bare minimum, it's way more.
Abounding. So my cup overflows.
Yeah, it overflows.
My cup runs over. So here is the richest possible life. We call it sometimes fullness of life that he makes possible for those who trust him and those who follow him. Now, I understand that Jesus said that's why he came, but Jesus has ascended to the Father. So what does this statement have to do with his church today?
Well, Jesus wants this abundant life, not just for individuals who are faithful to him, but he wants it for his church. And really, this abundant life is an extension of him through his bride, the church. So we get to experience more of this abundant life if we're more involved in church. When we build relationships with in this church, we get to experience encouragement, especially in the times when we're most discouraged. And without this community of faith, abundant life is a lot harder to find, and in some cases impossible to find, because with this unified, faithful community, abundant life is experienced because people are together.
So it's not the impossible dream. It's a normal, everyday experience for people of faith.
Yes.
Well, I like that idea of community. You can't have abundant life. You can't have the best life without relationship, and especially with people who share your faith and your values. And you can't give yourself what you don't have. So I need you, and maybe you need me from time to time, and we exhort each other along the way. Now, we quoted the end of John 10:10, but we didn't mention the first part. Why don't we go back now and look at the beginning of the verse? Because it tells us that the thief comes only to steal and to kill and destroy. That doesn't sound very good to me. Who is this thief and what's he up to?
So we know this thief by the name of Satan. Sometimes we call him the opposer because he opposes the faithful. He's made it his life existence to deteriorate the abundant life that Jesus gives to his faithful people, and to take it away and to really just crush it. And that's his goal. And so when Jesus says right here, the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy, he's talking about that. Satan entering your life, trying to steal this abundant living, this life, this thriving, beautiful life away from us.
So a sinful life is not more abundant. People think they're pursuing pleasure and materialism, and that's going to give them joy, but it actually makes their life less abundant. You said it deteriorates or diminishes life rather than making it better. Well, let me ask you one more question. If this is Jesus' mission statement, and it does apply to the church, that we experience it in community, let me just ask you about your ministry to young adults and to teens here at Old Hickory. How does that guide your ministry?
Well, really, abundant life is one of the most foundational principles to ministry. We want to experience stronger relationships. And so in youth ministry and young adults ministry, we want to build stronger connections. And we want to be more unified. We want to be closer together. And when you permeate this abundant living philosophy through your ministries, you get to build these strong relationships that cultivate spiritual growth and that really instill a transformed mind and perspective toward the pure things that Jesus offers us. And so in youth ministry, we spend time having fun and we play games, but we also model what it means to be a mature Christian. And I really like what Paul says. He talks about when he was a child, he lived like a child and acted like a child, but when he became a man, he put away childish things. And so it's fun to be goofy and to play games, but really the goal is to enter adulthood and maturity with a goal in mind. This is what a Christian looks like.
So the youth ministry and the young adult ministry at Old Hickory is not just about getting together and having activities. We have lots of fellowship, but there's more intention and purpose. So you see yourself more as an abundant life trainer. That's a beautiful picture. I think that's what parents want. Someone with the insight and the practicality to come alongside their son or daughter and help prepare them for their very best lives. Young adults looking for a spiritual grounding that's going to give them the brightest possible future. I think that's what Jesus intended for the church. That's his vision of church. Not to burden, but to bless. Not to stifle, but to unleash the potential that we have in us. Well, thank you for helping us as we looked at our first topic of our 6 questions ministry. I hope it's been a blessing to you. And I hope you'll come back, because we're going to be adding to this toolbox on a regular basis. And you're always going to find encouragement and practical help as you come back and visit Old Hickory on the website, or we hope you'll visit our services too when you have the opportunity. Blessings to you.
This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved